They are plans for good and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah 29:11. Hello, everyone. My name is LaMonica Schultz, and I am a 23-year-old recent graduate of Temple University. I graduate the bachelor's in speech, language, and hearing sciences, and I'm currently working in the city of Philadelphia in the morning with children with autism and part-time retail. I can't say that I had a life before Christ, being that I grew up in the church, praying before bedtime, reading the Bible from time to time. I always believed in God, but how I grew up, it made it hard to trust in Him, but so easy to question Him. I am the oldest of 7 children. I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters. I grew up with 5 of them for the first 16 years of my life, and then my brother with last year before college. I grew up in dysfunction. My home was broken since day one, where I witnessed no things children should see. I have heard no things children should hear. I've seen infidelity, physical abuse, verbal abuse. I myself have been emotionally and verbally abused. Growing up, I went to church on Sundays. I enjoyed fellowship with my peers, but the things I saw and experienced at home made me really question where my family's beliefs stood. I felt afraid with all the dysfunction going on. I was worried about my family, and I didn't understand at first why it continued to happen. But I was always hopeful things would change. Although she wasn't always a questionable person, my mother was not well equipped to be a mother at the time. When she was great, but when she was at a low, she wasn't the best person, and because of her arguably selfish actions, my family was put in not so great situations. My relationship with her became damaged and almost irreparable. There was a time where I was at the age of 8, I had $20, and at the age of 8, $20 can get you the whole candy store. So I had $20, and when I came home and found out that my stepdad took my $20 to go get a haircut, I was very upset. I was mad, but my mother got mad at me for getting mad that I was upset that my money was stolen. There was another time, the night of my sweet 16, where my mother found out I wanted to go live with my father. Instead of being supportive and understanding that I did not want to live in that dysfunction anymore, she flipped me the bird, called me the B word, and threatened me to never see my siblings again if I left. I would often call my dad and ask him why God put me in the family that I had. I would pray sometimes. I would read my Bible sometimes. But being in that environment made it very hard to feel like everything was going to be okay and that He really was looking out for me. To this day, I am thankful to God that I was able to leave that environment the day of my junior year, the last day of my junior year, and move in with my dad, my stepmom, and my little brother. I believe Jesus saved me by placing me in a household where He was the center. I was able to see how a husband and wife should live in love. My father and mother would look at each other with such happiness. They had inside jokes and even nicknames for each other. For example, I came home one day and I saw my father's anniversary card to my stepmother. It wasn't signed, "Love your husband." It wasn't signed, "Loved Onyx," which is his name. It was signed, "Love Chocolate Boy Wonder." I don't even think I want to know what my stepmom's nickname is. My father would do things to annoy my stepmom, but it was always out of loving humor. My stepmom was always the best person to give my dad constructive criticism, be there when he needed her, and fix his messy eyebrows. I was also able to see and experience how children should be treated. I could go out and act more like a teen and not a parent. I was able to fully immerse myself in this Christian environment, and it was in this environment that I was able to fully feel like I could trust Jesus, that I was going to be okay because He was with me. Then I moved to Philly for college. Came to GCC in 2012, and I was continuously encouraged by my Christ-given family, my family group, my peers. Unfortunately, I did stumble with God after getting wrapped up in my extracurricular activities, in my sorority, and even in a relationship with a man who was great, but he was not a man of God. I made decisions I wish I didn't, but I felt that Jesus never stopped watching over me. He never stopped calling my name. And it was with Him I was able to have a conversation with my mother, and now I truly and fully forgive her. we have a cordial, pleasant relationship now. And I truly feel that because of Jesus' blessing of patience and forgiveness, I no longer hurt. What is my life now that I fully look into Christ as my Lord and Savior? Although I still face familial struggles, it feels weightless, and the battles do not seem as grueling. I feel safe, protected, loved, cared for. Jesus never left me alone, although I made decisions that caused me to walk away from him. Each day, I am bringing myself to drop all I have into his hands and to fully trust in the plans he has for me. I wanted to get baptized like 2-3 times, but something always came up. But this year is the year. Now is now. And before making this big move I have coming up this July, I want to show the world this new relationship I have built with Christ while declaring to him that I trust him and trust that he is giving me a future and a hope.